JinPingMei Original Version Chapter 21 Wu Yunyang sweeps the snow and cooks tea, and responds to the Earl's invitation for wine. It is said that Simon King returned home from the courtyard. The weather had already been updated. When he arrived at the front door of his house, the boy asked him to open the door. He got off his horse and walked on the scattered jade to the front of the door at the back. Only the door was ajar, and there was no sound in the courtyard. Simon King thought to himself, there must be something fishy about this. So he stood in front of the pink wall inside the yamen and quietly listened. Xiao Yu came out and put a table into the corridor. It turned out that since Simon King turned against him, Wu Yunyang had been fasting 3 times a month and burning incense every 7th day to pray for her husband to return to his heart soon. Simon King didn't know it yet. I saw Xiao Yu putting Bai Xiang on the table. After a while, Yunyang came out after finishing her clothes, filled the courtyard with incense sticks, and bowed deeply while looking at the sky. Zhu said, I am from the Wu family, and I am the wife of Simon, because my husband is nostalgic for fireworks. He has no children in his middle age. I have 6 wives and concubines, and they all have nowhere to go, and there is no one to visit the grave. I worry all night long, fearing that I will not have any children. I am entrusted by you, therefore, I am determined to pray for the 3 lights under the stars and moon every night. I want to pray for my son-in-law to return to his heart soon. Give up the prosperity and focus on family affairs. Among the 6 people, including my concubine, I will see my heir die soon. It is my concubine's original wish to plan for life. Exactly. The night air is clear when I leave my room privately, and there is a fragrant mist and snow in the courtyard. I pray to heaven and tell my heartfelt concerns, wandering endlessly alone. Simon King just refused to listen. After hearing what Yunyang said, he felt ashamed and said, it turns out that I have always wronged him. He said everything because of my heart, and we are a serious couple. He couldn't bear it. Zhu walked forward from the pink wall and hugged Yunyang. Yunyang didn't expect him to arrive in the heavy snow. She was startled and was about to push away to go into the house. Simon King hugged her in a pun and said, my sister, Simon King, don't even know that I am dead. You don't care, all your good intentions are for me. I have always made a mistake, and I have made your heart cold. It is too late to regret it now. Yunyang said, in the heavy snow, you walked out of the wrong door. You dare not be in this room. I am that unvirtuous whore. What do I have to do with you? What about you? Why do you want to deal with me for no reason? The 2 of us will never meet again for 1,000 years. Simon King dragged Yunyang into the room with one hand. In front of the lamp, I saw him wearing what he usually wears, a pair of bright red silk jackets and a soft yellow skirt. He wears a sable rabbit lying on his head, and the golden pool is full of distractions, which makes him more and more obvious. Pink makeup, jade and silver basin face, Chu Xiu Yan. The cicada bun and the crow servant girl. Then how can Simon King not love him? He quickly made a deep bow to Yunyang and said, Simon King, was ignorant for a moment, did not listen to your kind words, and let down your good intentions. It is because I have blind eyes that I cannot recognize Jingshan jade. And I look at it like a stubborn stone. I will know later. Gentlemen, please forgive me, Yunyang said. I am not the person you love. Whenever I don't give you a chance, do you have any good advice? Just let me live in this room. And you can't. Pay attention to him. It's hard for me to accommodate you in this house. Come out with me as soon as possible, and I won't chase you away. Simon King said, I'm so angry today for nothing. I came home in the heavy snow and came to tell you. You, mother said, don't tell me if you want to make me angry or not. I don't care about you. Just wait for the people who care about you. Simon King saw that Yunyang didn't look at her face, so he folded his legs to pretend to be a dwarf, knelt on the ground, and killed the chicken pulls the neck, and the elder sister in the mouth is long and the younger sister is short. Yunyang looked down upon her and said, you are such a coward. I'll ask the girl to come in. She called Xiao Yu. When Simon King saw Xiao Yu come in, he quickly stood up and had no idea how to send him out. He said, it's snowing outside. Why don't you bring in the incense table? Xiao Yu said. The head of the incense table has already been taken in. Yunyang couldn't help but laugh and said, "You have no shame. The girl will tell a lie in front of you." Xiao Yu went out, and Simon King knelt down to greet her again. Yunyang said, "If you don't care about the world, it's better to ignore him for 100 years." After saying that, she sat down with him and taught him how to hold tea with him. Simon King invited the Earl to Lee's house for a tea party today because he wanted to make a fuss. He told him again, "Now I have made a vow not to set foot in the courtyard gate again." Yunyang said, "It's not up to me whether you kick me or not. You wrap him up with gold and silver. But if you don't go, do you know that he has picked up another man? It's a job to support a man's wife, but you can't tie him down. But you can't tie up his heart. What if you wrap him up with the envelope?" "Yes," Simon King said. "That's what you said." So he sent the maid out, took off her clothes and went to bed to have sex with Yunyang. Yunyang said, "I'll teach you how to get food when you get on the king. It's enough for you to be in my bed today. If you want to think about other things, you can't." Simon King revealed what he was saying and teased Yunyang. Said, "It's all because of you that he became speechless due to a stroke." He opened his eyes wide and was speechless. Yunyang scolded, "What a sweaty bastard. I can't even see with half my eyes." Simon King couldn't help but put the two white legs of Yunyang on his shoulders, inserted the words into the female's body, and let the orioles and butterflies pluck at them. Just how many orioles are rushing on the branches of crabapples, and swallows are chattering frequently among the emerald beams. Unexpectedly, I feel a little more connected, and my love is not added. I spit out the musk orchid, and my lips are filled with the fragrance of fat. Simon King was so in love that he begged Yunyang to call her daughter in a low voice. Yunyang also looked at the pillow with a soft voice. Her face was still beautiful, and she kept calling for kisses. That night, the two of them fell asleep with their heads and necks crossed. Exactly, the chaos the beggar has been spared, and the love is so strong that it is still tired of staying up all night. When I come late, I stand alone on the dressing table. There is no need to describe the faint spring mountains. The couple had sex that night. However, in the early morning of the next day, Meng Yulu walked to Pan Jinlian's room. Before entering the door, he called out, "Sixth girl, have you gotten up?" "Chum," I said, "my mother has just gotten up to comb her hair." Sanyang went into the house and sat down. When Yulu came in, he saw the golden lotus combing the fragrant clouds in front of the dressing table. Yin said, "I have something to tell you." "Do you know?" Jinlian said, "I am carrying Herazi here." "Who knows?" Yin asked. "What's the matter?" Yulu said, "His father came last night at the second watch. He went to the upper room, got married with the Wu family, and rested in his room for the night." Jinlian said, "How we tried to persuade him. He said 100 or 200 years, but it was all in vain." "Is he feeling well again?" "No one advised him," Yulu said. "I only found out this morning." My eldest girl, Lan Xiang, heard the servants in the kitchen saying that yesterday his father and Yinger had a drink at Li Geier's house in the courtyard, saw some flaw in the whore, and punched the walls of the door and window of the whore. She came home in the heavy snow, and when she entered the ceremony gate, she saw night incense burning in the upper room. She must have heard something, and the two of them just got together. She son is dead. People like him have nothing to say. If it were someone else, they would somehow be flirting with each other. Jin Liang continued, "I've been with someone for a long time, but I don't know how to get married to someone else. When burning night incense, you should only pray silently. Who has promoted it so that the man knows about it? No one persuades him, so he has made peace with the man in secret. It is better to be firm to the end, and let go of the clean and fake things," Yulu said. "That's not the case. I'm pretending to be clear. He wants to reconcile, but he can't say it out loud. He said that he is the eldest wife, and he won't hold back when it comes to asking us to do our part. He is afraid that we will talk filthy words about him in the future, and dare to talk about you and the couple. It's a bad conversation, and it's a shame we made peace. Now you and I can't teach him to buy gore. You quickly comb your hair and go over to talk to Li Pinger. Each of us will give 5 coins of silver and call her Li Pinger." I took out 1 or 2. It was for his business. "Today we will arrange a banquet. One of them will have a glass with him, and the two of them will just enjoy the snow and play for a day. Why not? Jin Lian said. That's right. I wonder if his father is doing anything today. Yulu asked, what kind of activities are there in the heavy snow? When I came, there was no movement between the couple. The door was open only when I went up to the room, and Xiaoyu went in with water. Jinlian combed her hair in a hurry and came over to Li Ping'er with Yulu. Li Ping'er was still asleep on the bed, and Yingxun said, Sanyang and Wu Niang are here. Yulu and Jinlian came in and said, Sister Li, you feel so comfortable. Now we are lazy dragons stretching their waists. Jinlian said to Shu Jin. He put his hand under the quilt and touched the silver fragrant balls on the quilt. He said, Sister Li has given birth to an egg. Then she opened the quilt and saw that he was all white. Li Ping'er hurriedly dressed. Yulu said, Fifth sister, stop fooling around with him. Sister Li, get up quickly. We have something to tell you. In this way, his father and eldest sister got married yesterday. We each have 5 coins, and you will have more money. It's because of you that I got up in the first place. In the heavy snow today, I just want to enjoy the snow. Let's arrange a banquet and invite his father and eldest sister to sit down. Okay, Li Ping'er said. I will teach you how much to pay. The slave has gone out. Jin Lian said. You will only go out for 1 or 2. You wait out, so I can go back and ask Li Jiaoer and Sun Zui to go. While Li Ping'er was dressing and binding his feet, he asked Yingxun to open the box and take out the money. I took a piece, and the gold lotus weighed 1.22 and 5 cents on the fine scale. Yulu asked Jinlian to accompany Li Ping'er to comb her hair. Wait while I go back and ask Li Jiaoer and Sun Zui for some money. Jinlian watched Li Ping'er combing her hair and washing her face. After about an hour, Yulu came from behind and said, I'm sorry, I don't know how to make a living. Everyone's business seems to be in vain. The little horse said, I am a person who has no luck. If the man doesn't come into my room, how can I ask for money? After begging for a long time, she only took out here comes this silver hairpin. How much do you weigh it? Jinlian took the silver hairpin and weighed it. It only weighed 3 cents and 7 cents. Because he asked, what's wrong with Li Jiaoer? Yulu said, Li Jiaoer just said no at first. Although the money is thrown into my hand day after day, it is all counted. Pay as much as you want. There is surplus money there? I said, you are the boss and you say you have no money, but we have some. So what if I don't come to your door in June? It's our business. Just don't do it. Teach me how to behave. When he came out, he panicked and asked the girl to tell me to go back before he gave me the money. He made me so angry for no reason. Jin Lian took Li Jiaoer's silver and weighed it. It was only 4 cents and 8 cents. Yin scolded, what a treacherous whore. Just ask me why. Even if I have a ghost tied up, I am still a few points short of others. Yulu said, his family is only allowed to use Huanghan and others to weigh people. When people asked him for it, it was as if he had been beaten to the bone and bald. I don't know how many times he scolded him. On the one hand, Lian Yulu and Jinlian collected 3 liang of money. On the other hand, Zhu Chun called Dian. Jinlian first asked him, you went with your father yesterday. Why did you come to Li's house in trouble? Diangxi left the tea party at Chang's house early and invited his second father and Zi's father to come to Li's house. The bastard replied that he was not at home and had gone to the 5th aunt's house to celebrate her birthday. I didn't want to lag behind my father in cleaning my hands. When I went to the back and saw Fantuan, a barbarian, drinking wine, my father became angry. Without explanation, he asked all of us to beat the door and window wall of the adulterer's house as hard as we could. As long as Manzi and Fandadun were locked and the door go up. Thanks to everyone's repeated persuasion, second Dad made Xing Xing ride home and became violent on the road. Tomorrow he will still manipulate the prostitute. Jin Lian said, thief and whore, I just said that Honeypot has been held tightly for many years. Why did you beat her today? Then she asked Dan, is your father really saying that? Dan said, it can't be so. You dare to coax your mother? Jin Lian said, he's a thief. He won't pick it off. He's also your father's bitch. You're allowed to scold him? We're going to do it to you, but we can't do it. I'm going to send money to Aunt Gui's house. Aunt Gui is so sweet. Now that he has fallen, your master is angry. And you even called him a whore. See if I tell your father tomorrow. Dan said, Yale, the sun has set in the west this time, and Wu Niang has come to protect his family again. Could it be that my father didn't call him a whore on the road? How dare you call him such a slut? Jin Lian said. Is your father allowed to scold him? It's just him, so maybe you scolded him, Diane said. If I had known that Wen Yang was guilty of the younger one wouldn't have said anything to Wen Yang. Yulu said, little prisoner, don't say anything. There are 3 and 2s here. Jin Yanzi, hurry up and go buy something for me with Lake Singer. Today we invite your father and aunt to enjoy the snow. You will leave us less behind, and I will teach you Unaying not to sue your father, Diane said. Mom, I'm a kid. How dare you drop money? So he took the money and went shopping with Lai Xing'er. Let's say that Simon got up and was dressing up in the upper room. In the heavy snow, Lake Sing bought chicken, goose and rice, and went to the kitchen. Diane came in with another jar of Jinhua wine. Then he asked Yu Xiao, where did the young man's things come from? Yu Xiao replied, today, the ladies are buying wine and inviting parents to enjoy the snow. Simon King asked, where did the Jinhua wine come from? Diane said, it was bought by Sanling and Xiaoqin. Simon King said, I saw one at home, so I went to buy it again. He told Diane, take the key. There is double jasmine wine in the front room. Bring 2 jars with this, drink and eat. So in the open room of the back hall, a brocade tent was set up to surround the screen. Plum blossom curtains were put down. Animal charcoal was placed in the stove, and a banquet was ranged. After a while, everything was sorted out. Li Jr., Meng Yulu, Pan Jinlian, and Li Ping arrived and asked Simon King and Young to come out. At the moment, Li Jiao held the cup, Meng Yulu held the pot, Pan Jinlian held the dishes, and Li Ping knelt with him. They handed it to Simon King first. Simon King took the wine in his hand and said with a smile, my son, if you have a lot of motivation, please be filial to me. Pan Jinlian spoke quickly and interjected, what an old-fashioned boy, who is here to kowtow for you. We all kowtow to you. And you stand, the lamb's horns and green onions are against the south wall, getting more and more sophisticated. If it weren't for the eldest sister to lead you, would we kowtow to you today? He handed Simon King and poured another full cup. Please. Yunyang turned it up and handed it to Yunyang. Yunyang said, you didn't tell me. Who would have thought you were bothering so much for nothing? Yulu smiled and said, it's nothing. We just put a glass of water and wine round. It was snowing heavily, and we were just relaxing with your husband and wife. Sister, please sit down and receive a courtesy from us. Yunyang refused. So Yiping returned the courtesy. Yulu said, if sister doesn't sit down, we won't get up either. After giving in for a long time, Yunyang only accepted half of the courtesy. Jin Lian joked, I told my sister that today she has forgiven him in front of us. Next time if she is rude and bumps into her, we won't care. Wang Ximenxing said, you are just pretending to be stupid. I'm still sitting at the top. Why don't you come down quickly and pass the clock to your sister? Why don't you accompany me? Simon King laughed again. After a long time, after handing it over, Yunyang turned down and ordered the jade flute to hold the pot. She also poured wine and returned to drink with the sisters. Only Sun Zui knelt down to receive the wine, while the others talked about their sisterly affection. So Simon King and Yunyang took the upper seats, while the rest, Li Jr., Meng Yulu, Pan Jinlian, Li Ping'er, Sun Zui and Simon eldest sister, all fought on both sides. Jin Lian then said, Sisterly, you should give me a glass of wine. When I got up because of your incident, you became Laolin. Why are you so stupid? Then Li Ping'er actually walked down from the table. Come and ask for a drink. Simon King stopped him and said, Don't listen to that little whore. She's coaxing you. I just handed you the wine once. How many times? Then Li Ping'er didn't move. At present, the 4 domestic musical instruments of Chunmai, Yingxun, Yuxiao and Lengsheng, Pipa, Zheng, Xianzi and Yukin, started playing and singing, and sang a set of Southern Pomegranate Flowers, Good Times Reunion. After Simon King heard this, he asked, who asked him to sing this set of words? Yu Xiao said. It was Wu Niang who asked him to sing. Simon King looked at Pan Jinlian and said, You little slut. You are alone. It's all about the bald branches and the leaves, Jinlian said, who taught him to sing and he came. If he didn't, he came to pester me again, Yu Nyang said. Why don't you invite brother-in-law Chen to come and sit down? She asked the boy to come forward. After a while, Jingji came, bowed to everyone at the table, and sat down under the eldest sister. Yu Nyang ordered Xiao Yu to place the bell and chopsticks, and the whole family had a drink. Simon King glanced at the snow in front of the curtain, which looked like tangled wadding and dancing pear blossoms. It was falling heavily. It's really snowy, but see, it looks like catkins at first, and gradually looks like goose feathers. Swishing like crabs walking on the sand. They're like a pile of crabs in chaos. But his clothes were stained with 6 protrusions, and his temples were instantly covered with bees. Lining the Yao Terrace, it looks like a jade dragon dancing in the air with its armor turned over. The powder on its forehead looks like white crane feathers falling to the ground. It's exactly this. The jade building is frozen and millet grows in the cold. And the light shakes the silver sea and the candle grows flowers. Wu Yunyang saw that the snow was very thick on the Taihu rocks between the pink walls. Come down from the table and teach Xiao Yu to hold the teapot, sweep the snow by herself, and cook Zheng and Feng Duan Q tongue tea for everyone to eat. Exactly, the white jade pot is filled with blue waves, and the purple gold cup is filled with fragrance. In the middle of having tea, Diane came in and said, Li Ming is here, wait in front. Simon King said, teach him to come in. After a while, Li Ming came in, kowtowed to everyone, and walked beside. Simon King asked, Where are you going? You came just in time, Li Ming said. The little one didn't go there. In the north, Mr. Liu, a drunken and jealous man, taught some children. The little one took a look. I remember my parents, sisters. There are still a few verses that are not sung in time, so come and take care of me. Simon King handed him the cup of osmanthus tea he was eating, said, You have a break, please sing a song for me to listen to. Li Ming said, I know, little one. After having some tea, he came up, tuned the strings of the zither, opened his throat, put his feet up, and sang a song. Set of winter sing Jiangdu spring. After singing, Simon King ordered Li Ming to come forward and enjoy the wine with him. He taught Xiao Yu how to fill the pot and pour it into the silver enamel peach clock. Li Ming knelt on the ground and drank 3 cups. Simon King ordered for dishes to be placed on the table and held them with Li Ming on a plate. Then Li Ming went down to eat, wiped his mouth with silk, went up, and stood upright against the wooden sh. Simon King Yin told what happened at Sister Gui's house yesterday. Li Ming said, The younger one doesn't know, and has never gone there. Thinking about it, it's my third mother who does the business of Sister Gui. Dad, don't bother him. He can wait until the younger one sees him and tells him what to do. That day, when it was time to drink until the first watch, the wives and concubines were all happy. First, Chen Jingji and the eldest sister went forward. After arriving at the wine stall, Simon King rewarded Li Ming with wine and sent him out, saying, When you get there, don't talk about staying with me today. Li Ming said, Dad, I know. Simon King ordered him to go out, so the wives and concubines dispersed. Simon King was still in Yunyang's room and had a rest. There is poetry to prove it. Don't doubt the fate of Red Rope. House and house duo couples share this love. From then on, the fish and water meet, and the two are willing to maintain harmony for 100 years. But it was said that the next day it was snowy and Earl Ying and Shi were so impressed by the Li family's roasted goose wine that they were afraid that Simon King would manipulate his family, so they came to invite Simon King to accompany them. Yunyang finished dressing up in the morning and was eating cakes with Simon King in the room when Diane came in and said, Yinger Daddy and Z Daddy are here. Simon King put down the cake and was about to walk forward. Yunyang said, The 2 hookers are making ghosts, and they don't know what they are doing. You also went out to eat and told him to wait outside. Why did you walk out in such a panic that you seemed to be dead? You didn't know where the hookers were in the heavy snow. Simon King said, Ask the boy to bring the cake to the front, and he and I will eat it. After saying that, He got up and went out. Yunyang ordered, "You eat with him. Don't believe him and go there to seduce him. JinPingMei is celebrating her birthday today." Simon King said, "I know." So he met Ying Ansi and said, "Brother came to your house yesterday. We were very surprised and said to him, 'I used to spend money and things at your house, even though I didn't come for a while. Why don't you change your tone and allow your fan to pick up the barbarian behind your back?' They are on a narrow road, and he saw it with his own eyes. How can he not be annoyed? Don't say that he is annoyed. We can't see it in our hearts. Try your best." He said a few words to his wife, but he was very bored. He invited the two of us home this morning, and the ladies were crying and kneeling. "I'm afraid you might be tempted, so I bought a glass of water and wine. So I'd like to invite you in to accompany me." Simon said. King said, "I'm not interested either. I'll never go in again." The Earl said, "Brother is right to be angry, but speaking of it, he has nothing to do with Sister Gui." This Sir Guanding was originally the lonely old man of his sister Gui King. He didn't say that he wanted to invite Sister Gui. It was only because his father's cargo ship hitched a ride on Chen Jiansheng's ship in a foreign country that he arrived not more than 2 days ago. This Chen Jiansheng, numbered Liang Huai, was the son of Chen Shenzheng. Official Ding took 10 taels of silver. "I put some wine in his house to treat Chen Jiansheng. I just sent this money. I didn't expect you and I to panic when we arrived at his house. I couldn't hide in time, so I hit the barbarian behind and was seen by you. To tell the truth, I have never been involved with Sister Gui. Today, his ladies risked their lives to recite incantations and kowtow. They asked me to invite him to come there and express his grievances to him, which solved half of his annoyance." Simon King said, "I'm already right. I vowed never to go there again. So why are you so upset? You went to his house to the point where you don't want to worry about it. There are some small things at home today that I can't go to." The panicked people knelt down together and said, "Brother, what are you talking about? If you don't go without arguing, it's obvious that we can't invite you to go, and we have no respect. It's okay to just sit there for a while." The two of them immediately sued Huo Yang, and Simon King agreed. After a while, the table was set and the people were left to eat cakes. After eating for a while, he ordered Dian to get his clothes. Yunyang was sitting with Meng Yulu and asked Dian, "Where is your father going?" Dian said, "I don't know. I just asked you to get clothes." Yunyang scolded, "You are a thief. You are a prisoner. You're hiding it from me. Today, your third wife is celebrating her birthday. Your father is late, so I will only beat you for being such a thief." Dian said, "Why do you care about the younger ones when you beat them up?" Yunyang said, "Somehow, I heard that every time he comes, he seems to be running for his life, eating food, leaving the rice bowl, and never leaving. I don't know how to seduce wandering souls and bump into corpses. We only come after bumping into many people. I have wine at home and are waiting." Question. Let's say that Simon King was invited to Li's house by the people, and a banquet of wine and food was placed in the morning hall, and the prostitutes were invited to play and sing. Sister Li Gui and Gui King were dressed up to greet him. The old godly woman came out and knelt to accompany him. The two sisters passed the wine. Earl Ying and Si Zida were joking and laughing nearby, and said to Sister Gui, "It's a good thing that I shaved off half of the skin on my mouth and invited your man over. He didn't even pass me a glass of wine. Just a glass of wine. Give it to your man. If he couldn't come with his pout just now, don't say that you were blinded by crying and singing a few words. Tomorrow, no one will want you, and I will be the only one who can talk." Sister Gui scolded, "Weird, Ying Huazi, I'm so sweaty. It's hard for me to scold you. Can I sing the lyrics to Coco's song?" Earl Ying said, "Look at the thief, you little whore." After reciting sutras and beating the monk, he won't panic. "The hair on my wings has dried up this time. Come here and have a warm mouth with me." So without any explanation, he put his arms round his neck and kissed me. Sister Gui said with a smile, "Knife-wielding monster, look at the wine spilled on Dad." The Earl said, "You little slut. You know how to love Kiao Zhangxi, and you will love the man this time. Look, you spilled the wine on Dad. I call you Dad, not Yan. I am a stepmother. "Why don't you call me son?" Sister Gui said. "I call you my child." The earl said, "Come here and I'll tell you a joke. Listen, a crab and a frog became brothers. They bet that they would be the eldest brother if they jumped over the ditch. The frog jumped over a few times. The crab was about to jump when he met two women coming to draw water and tied him with a straw rope. He stopped and fetched water to take home. He forgot before leaving and was about to go. Frog saw that he didn't come, so he came over to see him and said, 'Why don't you go over?' Crab said, 'I can go over. It's not like you're so good at being fucked by two little sluts.'" After hearing this, Sister Gui and the two hurriedly beat Simon King, making Simon King laugh. Not to mention the teasing and playing here. Wu Yunyang was the one who brought the wine back to the banquet, and the two of them were celebrating their birthdays in the Yulu. Wu Daguzi, Miss Young and Tuans were all sitting in the upper room. "See if Simon King doesn't come home at sunset. Yunyang will be anxious." Jin Lian pulled Li Pinger and said to Yunyang with a smile, "Sister, he's not here for us. Let's go to the front of the door to see him." Yunyang said, "Be patient and see what happens to him." Jin Lian pulled Yulu again. He said, "Let's go for a walk. The three of us." Yulu said, "I'm here to listen to Master tell a joke. When we hear the joke, we'll go." Jin Lianfeng stopped and surrounded the two sisters-in-law, hearing the joke. He said, "Master, if you have one, please tell me quickly." The Ant Wang sat on the pit and said one. Jin Lian said, "This is not good. Let me tell you one more thing." Ant Wang said again, "There are 3 daughters-in-law in the family celebrating their birthdays with the father-in-law. First, the eldest daughter-in-law handed over the wine and said, 'My father-in-law seems to be an official.' The father-in-law said, 'How can I resemble an official?' My daughter-in-law said, 'Sit on it. Everyone in the family is afraid of you. How can I not behave like an official?' The second daughter-in-law came up and handed the wine and said, 'My father-in-law is like a tiger and powerful.' My father-in-law said, 'How can I be like an official who weighs only?' The daughter-in-law said, 'When you drink, everyone in the family will be shocked. Why don't you act like Zuoli?' Father-in-law said, 'I'm right as you said.' The third daughter-in-law handed the wine and came up and said, 'Father-in-law, neither does he look like an official, nor does he look like a slave.' The father-in-law said, 'But what does it look like?' The daughter-in-law said, 'The father-in-law looks like a foreign man.' The father-in-law said, 'How can I look like a foreign man?' The daughter-in-law said, 'I don't look like a foreign man. How come they are all present in the 6 houses?' Everyone laughed. Jin Lian said, 'What a bold man. Keep us all inside. How dare that foreigner be so bold?' After that, Jin Lian, Yulu and Li Pinger came to the front gate to see Simon King. Yulu asked, 'Where did his father go in Daxwali today?' Jin Lian said, 'I guess he must have gone to the house of the prostitute Li Geier in the courtyard.' Yulu said, 'We had a fight and vowed not to go there again. How about that? Going again? What are we betting on? His house is not in charge.' Jin Lian said, 'Sister Li is here to testify. Do you dare to clap with me? I said I went to his house today. The day before yesterday, he beat up the prostitute at her house. Yesterday, Li Ming Na Wangba came first to check on the spy. Today, Yinger and the man named Z were seduced by a ghost in the early morning. I guess the old godly woman and the prostitute made up a plan and called her there. Somehow they managed to get her to stay with her, and they had to go back and repay the account. I don't know how long they kept me entangled. There is a guy who is coming or not, but the eldest sister is just waiting for him.' Yulu said, 'If you don't come, I should come home and say something.' Just as he was talking, I saw a melon seed seller coming over. 2 of them were buying melon seeds at the front of the door. Suddenly Simon King came from the east, and the 3 of them couldn't run behind. Simon King was on the horse and taught Diane to go ahead. You look who is at the front of the gate. Diane took 2 steps and said, 'It's Sanyang, Wu Niang and Liu Niang who are buying melon seeds at the door.' Simon King got off his horse when he got home and entered the front door of Yimin at the back. Yulu and Li Pinger went to the upper room to report to Yuan Niang first. Only the golden lotus was hidden in the dark shadow behind the pink wall. Simon King was shocked when he saw it and said, 'You little whore, you can scare me. What are you doing at the gate?' Jinlian said, "How dare you say that? You there, come here at this time. The teaching ladies are just waiting for you at the front of the door." When Simon King entered the room, Yunyang arranged wine and food, taught Yuxiao how to hold the pot, and the eldest sister handed the wine. Simon King was handed to Simon King first, and then all the sisters handed it to them and sat down at the banquet. Chunmai and Yingchun were playing and singing. After eating once, they all were taken away. The wine for Yulu's birthday was newly put on the table, and 40 kinds of exquisite and various dishes were served. The pot is filled with beautiful wine, and the cup is full of clouds. Let Wu Daguzi sit down. When it was time to wake up, the big girl didn't eat much wine and went back to the back. Only Wu Yunyang and others accompanied Simon King to play dice and guess the orders. When it was Yunyang's turn, Yunyang said, "Since you want me to give orders, drink according to the tiles, one tile name, to domino names, which match the phrase West Chamber." Yu Nang said first. 6th Niangzi, the drunken concubine Yang, dropped her 8-beaded ring, and Yusier grabbed the tea frame. Unexpectedly, when Simon was celebrating, he said, "My beauty." When she saw Chu and Han fighting, she heard the army of Jiangma. She only heard the golden drums in her ears and the sky shook. It turned out to be a Jiangmajun, and she had a drink. It was Li Zhaoer who said, "The water fairy," because two people entered the peach garden, scattered the flowers and butterflies on the branches, and only made the ground red and rouge cold. "I didn't meet her. The next time it was time to throw the golden lotus," he said, Balauer. When he was old, he went into the flowers and broke the 3 cardinal principles and 5 constant principles. Ask him if he can be a thief and take it. Sure enough, it was the 3 cardinal principles and 5 constant principles. He ate a cup. It was Li Ping'er's turn to throw the ball, and he said, "It's good to take the ladder and look at the moon. When the day and night stop at the spring equinox, the wall will turn into Wangfu Mountain at that time." "I didn't meet him," Sun Zue said. "Malanger, I saw a group of crows beating a phoenix and tripping a broken-footed goose. So you can teach me the difficulties of being a human being." "I didn't meet him." After finishing the order, the Jade Tower said, Naya Nujiao, drunk and holding the 4 red sinks, dragging the brocade skirt. "How many spring breezes and moonlight sell the gold account?" Just through the 4 red sinks. After Yunyang finished her order, she called Xiao Yu and said, "Pour some wine with your 3 mothers." She said, "It's best if you have 3 big cups. You should spend the night with the groom tonight." So she said to Li Ping'er and Jinlian, after dinner, "Let's send the 2 of them back to their rooms." Jinlian said, "How dare you disobey my sister's strict order?" Yulu was so embarrassed. After a short while of wine, Yunyang and others escorted Simon King back to the head of the Jade Building. The Jade Tower asked everyone to sit down, but none of them sat down. Jinlian then teased Yulu and said, "My son, just have a good sleep. Your mother will come to see you tomorrow. Don't be naughty," because she said to Yunyang, "My dear, my child is young. For my sake, please be patient." Yulu said, "Liu girl, you old rice vinegar. Let's make it next to each other. I will answer your question tomorrow." Jinlian said, "My matchmaker went upstairs. I'm very patient and can't stand being frightened." So she and Li Ping'er, sister Simon, went all the way. As soon as he reached the front of Yemen, Li Ping'er slipped on the ground. The golden lotus was so strange that Kiao cried out, "This sister Li is just like a blind person. She falls down in a blink of an eye. You go ahead and step on my foot in the snow, knocking someone's shoe off. You're kicking in the mud too." Yunyang heard this and said, "It's the pile of snow at the head of Yemen. I told the boy twice that he was a thief, but he refused to lift it and just pretended that it had slipped." Because she called Xiao Yu, "You take a lantern and send it to Wu Niang and Liu Niang." Simon King said to Yulu in the room, "Look at this little thief. He kicked in the mud and tripped someone up. He also said that someone kicked him, his shoes were muddy, and he didn't have any words to wipe them with. What a little slut. Yesterday, he asked the girls to sing Good Day Reunion for nothing, so I guess that it was his business." Yulu said, "What do you mean by reunion at a good time?" Simon King said, "He said that the Wu family's meeting was not a formal meeting, but a private meeting. It was like burning night incense and waiting for me. Yulu said, "Sixth sister, everyone knows all the songs, but we don't know." Simon King said, "You don't know. This whore can only bite everyone." Not to mention that Simon King stayed in the Jade building. Shanta Panjinlian and Li Pinger walked and talked. When they reached Yemen, the eldest sister returned to the front room. Xiao Yu held up a lantern and sent the two of them to the garden. Jin Liang was already half drunk, so she pulled Li Pinger and said, "Niang, I have some wine today. You can bring it to my room." Li Pinger said, "Sister, you are not drunk." After a while, he sent Jin Liang to Jin Liang. Inside the room, he sent Xiao Yu back and left Li Pinger to sit and have tea. Jin Liang said again, "You said you didn't allow me to come. Who did you lose? Who would have thought that our sisters would walk on a springboard today and bear so many mistakes for you, so that others don't talk about me behind your back? I only have good intentions, God only knows." Li Pinger said, "I know that my sister has troubled me so much that my kindness should be repaid, so I don't dare to forget it." Jin Liang said, "You know, that's all." After a while, Chanmai brought tea to eat. Li Pinger said goodbye and returned to her room. Jin Liang spends the night alone. Nothing to worry about. Exactly, the moon in the tall building in the empty courtyard is no longer 3 or 5 circles. Why bother looking at the bed when you will end up sleeping alone?
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.